Hey chess friends, National Master James Cantor III here with Chess.com, and today we have game of the day. With the white pieces we have Sergey Karjakin, and with the black pieces we have Sam Shankland. This is from the World Cup. Let's see today's game. Now here we go guys, we have e4 and e6. So we have a French defense, but you can go many different ways. d4 in this position, even d3, even knight c3, knight f3, g3. Many ways you can go. The standard usually is d4. French being very rock solid, and actually Bobby Fischer had some problems with this if you look at his record. And actually what he did is play d3. Bobby Fischer used to play this as well. This is the King's Indian attack, where you can go a multitude of ways and you're just really trying to all out attack black on the king side of the board. After d3, there's d5. We have a very classical King's Indian attack here, which is the reverse of the King's Indian defense for you King's Indian defense players. After d5, there's knight to d2, which is the standard here. The plan here, and we're just going to talk about the plan, is knight f3, play g3, bishop g2, castle, we're going to play h4. You're going to put the rook on e1, play knight to f1, play e5 at the right moment, sometimes c3 to stop the knight, usually coming in the d4. Everything in our pawn structure, in fact, points to what side we should play on, which is the king side. King's Indian attack here, where we're going to attack on the king side. And black, on the contrary here, on the opposite side, is going to attack and use everything in his power to attack us on the queen side. The pawn structure points to this side of the board anyway, so moves like c5, b5, knight c6, a5, everything 5. And we're going to keep pushing everything down here and get our attack going on the queen side. Now, of course, checkmate ends the game. So we're just going to have a fun time with white usually in these kind of lines. But if you can't actually get the checkmate, it's not going to work. So after knight to d2, there's knight to f6, standard play. Knight g to f3, bishop e7, and g3. Guys, nothing to see here. Nothing out of the ordinary, all spectacular, same stuff you would do in the King's Indian attack anyway, sometimes different move orders. A5, again, different move order kind of stuff. He's just saying, hey, I'm going to go for it now. Sam's like, I'm just going to go for this play now and just get it done, get it out of the way. And when A4 happens, a lot of times you play the Bobby Fischer A3, where when this pawn gets down to A4 and usually the B pawn on B4, you go to A3. There's many games you see Bobby Fischer actually making the A3 move in these King's Indian attacks. So after a5, bishop to g2, a4, and what do we see? The Bobby Fischer a3, absolutely. And after a3, there's c5. And after c5, you see knight c6, b5, b4, literally doing exactly what we need to do in this type of game. c5 and castles, knight to c6, rook e1. Remember, we talked about the plans already. Nothing spectacular. Again, the same stuff. We're playing e5, knight f1. We're going to play some h4 action in there and try to attack over here. Black still hasn't castled yet, but then he does. Sam castles right here. And then we have e5 hitting the knight with knight to d7 coming next. Okay, knight to d7. Now, what do you actually do in this position? It's the same stuff. Again, knight f1, h4, queen e2, c3. I mean, literally, this is one of the easiest the defenses and attacks that you can play actually against the French, or really any opening for that matter. You have Carol Khan's, you have against the e5 systems. You can play the King's Indian attack against literally everything. Now, that's not to say that you should, but you can. Now, after knight to d7, there's knight to f1. Knight f1 and b5. Remember, we talked about the plans. Everything is going according to plans. h4, bishop b7 is all about who's getting to the king first. Usually, that happens actually in opposite side castles when they castle to opposite sides, one king side, one queen side, right? You know, whoever gets to that king first is the pawn thrust, and you got the back and forth, who is going to get to that king. But in a King's Indian attack, only one person is attacking the king, and that's the white pieces here. And on the queen side here for black, we're just going to do everything we can on the queen side and then hopefully win on the queen side so that we can eventually checkmate, but we're not immediately going for a checkmating attack. After bishop to b7, there's h5, right? h5, and we live trying to play something like h6. After h6 happens from black, not allowing h6, we go bishop to f4. And again, this is standard, guys. There is nothing new that has happened. You'll see this all the time in King's Indian attacks. So fairly still theory in a way. Bishop f4, queen to b6, putting everything on the queen side, and then queen to d2. Oh yeah, Sack City is coming, but you need to sack at the right time. You are playing Sam Shankland. This is the World Cup. You cannot sacrifice at the wrong moment. And you only have a, this is a must-win situation actually for Sergey. So after queen d2, rook f to c8, getting everything out of the way. Also, something like knight f8 can happen. Knight f8, a lot of times they say knight f8 will stop the mate, right? Rhymes, but you also remember it. But it's also a very passive piece. You also can run as well if you need to with the king. Okay, rook after c8. White to move here, guys. You know, I'm very, very impressed by this move by Sergey here. As you have many moves you can make, King's Indian attack style, really knight h2 being one of them, maybe a king h1 or knight e3. But what would you do in this position? It's white to move, and what would you choose? Here it is. In fact, Karjakin shows g4, which is a big move. I actually really like this. So now the knight can go to g3 if we need to. You also can play king h1. And the main threat is just playing g5. This is a hook pawn, is what they call it. We're going to play g5 and we live. So he plays queen d8 and says, none of that, big fella. But you still can play g5. We do have 3 pieces defending the g5 square. And then you have only, well, 3 as well. But this 4th one, we're going to be fine, right? Pawn takes, knight takes, and bishop takes. And we're all good there. G5, pawn takes, knight takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. And E5's hanging too as well. So you need to be careful. G5 is probably not the move to make. So he says, okay, I'm just going to play knight 1 to h2 and just prepare it. It's not ready yet. The best attacks are prepared. Nice move from Sam here. Rook a6, indirectly defending on this side. Maybe if we're able to push some pawns, maybe if we need to play f6 or stop something, we're defending e6. We're also helping, you know, defend if it's possible. If things open up, we can defend with this rook over here. You also have rook b6 in some cases as well. Rook a6, interesting move. And then king h1 from Sergey here with the intention of putting the rook to g1. And after b4, we play rook g1. Literally, sometimes you just don't care about nothing on the queen side. Right? You do need to care. Get that Bobby Fischer a3 in and just go crazy on the king side. That's how it is in these King's Indian attacks. A3 happened, and we didn't do anything else on the queen side. This is something to learn from in the King's Indian attacks, especially against the French defense, which is mostly the most effective. In fact, if you look at games, one of the best ways to actually attack the French defense is the King's Indian attack. After rook to g1, knight to f8, and we great. Defending everything and stopping the mate. So after knight f8, okay, guys, we play a takes b4, says Sergey, a takes b4, and c takes b4. Not necessary, not the most necessary here. In fact, even the engine's like, oh, you can play g5, but a takes b4 is a move as well. He does get rid of it. We don't want b3 to happen, or maybe c4 and just busting through. So he does a little bit of queenside action, neutralizing and kind of slowing down Black's queenside attack. After a takes, there's c takes b4. And now after c takes b4, white plays d4. I kind of like this move here. Lots of moves left, so we're going to fly through a few of them. d4 is pretty good. I think it's going for c3 as well. Maybe even putting the queen on d3. Kind of stopping even the d4 push from Black as well, which can be annoying, opening up this bishop, which could actually neutralize a lot of our attacks and also counterattack at the same time. So he plays d4, neutralizing all of that. But then it also opens up another square. When you push a pawn, you leave squares behind. So after d4 happens, c4 is a big square. So he says, you know what? Okay, I'm Sergey Karjakin. I did face Magnus in the world champs back in the day. It's time to go for this, big dog. You ready? G5, there it is. Sheesh, G5 and we live. That's a big boy move. He's ready. Look at the open the file with a smile. He says, I do not care about your knight c4. And he does play knight c4. And now it's up to you to figure out, where do you put this queen? Put it on e2, d3. Where do you put the queen? e1, c1, d1? Here it is. Queen c1. Just back it up. Just back it up. In fact, you could have played these, but this one's the best. D1, you could have played that one, but c1 is the best one because we're keeping the pressure at the same time defending b2. If you're not careful, a lot of times they can take this pawn, and then these are actually passed in a way, and especially if that falls, you know, if this king side attack not ready, you're going to lose. So he played queen c1, and at this point, okay, Sam says, look, we have to deal with this. We have to. There's nothing else to do. We have to deal with this threat. So he takes it. After captures, instead of taking with the knight, Sergey takes with the bishop. Bishop takes g5, and then b3. Whoa, seems a little scary here. Seems very, very, very scary for white. If you play the c3 move here, oh my goodness, sheesh, a3, that's for me. You in trouble. If you takes b2, what do you do? That's GG. Wow, and I'm also threatening to take here. So if you thought, oh, let's just do something, let's just try to slow him down a little bit more. He's already here. What do you mean? Like, it's over. So you need to be very, very, very accurate here. In fact, the best move right here is actually queen to f4. And according to the engine, that's move number 1. But actually, Sergey did move number 2, which is totally fine in this position. Not much of a difference. Bishop takes e7. After bishop takes e7, there's queen takes e7, and now Sergey sets a trap. This is what he does. He plays bishop f1 and sits back and waits. And see, what are you going to do here? Are you going to go for it, Sam? What are you going to do? Bishop f1. And of course, Sam says, I have nothing else to do. I'm going to go for it. You're going to have to show me, Sergey. I don't see anything here. Now, of course, he did miss a spectacular move here that Sergey did next. It is white to move. What do you do in the position? Here it is. Sergey looked around. Not many people there because this is like the finals in a way. And he said, rook takes g7. Oh my goodness. He sacked the whole rook. That's right. Nothing else. You don't see a rook g1 coming next, right? Is there a rook g1, guys? Nope. There is no rook g1, right? Can you check with the queen next? No. You can check with the pawn next. What is his intention? After king takes g7, what's the follow-up? Every great sacrifice comes with either a quiet move, silent move afterwards, or a very, very great and strong follow-up, like this one, white to move. Here it is. That man said, knight g4 for the score. Sheesh. Queen h6. Oh, my goodness. Queen h6, you can't even stop it. You can't even stop it. Wow. Queen h6 is in the mix, man. And now after knight g4, this man plays f5 because you kind of have to. You have to do this or else you're just lost. So en passant, thanks for the queen. I appreciate it. But he's banking on the fact that, hey, look, I am a moment's notice away. If I can get out of this, if I can wiggle out of this, I'm going to win on the queen side and queen. But checkmate ends the game. Let's see. Queen takes. I'll take that from you. Appreciate it. He says a takes b2. What? This is nuts. Absolutely bananas, right? I am about to let him queen, but is he mated? I don't know, because if I'm wrong, he's going to queen and I'm looking crazy. So queen g5 check, right? We have to go to f7 because h8 is going to lead to mate on g8. So he goes king f7. All right, it's a king hunt, guys. This one's going to be hard for a lot of you to see, but it is on you. What do you do? White to move. How do you finish this? Here it is right here. This man played h6. What a move. Moment of silence, please. H6. That's a beautiful move. Wow. Saying, hey, bro, take go ahead, do it. Take it, right? Queen g7's mate, obvious. So he plays knight g6. And he's saying, okay, hey, yeah, that was cute. That was cute, Sergey. That was cool. Okay. Yeah. Nice, right? But what are you going to do about this? And then I got another one that's about to come right behind him. So you have to make a move here. He follows up with knight h4. Knight h4, guys. Now, in fact, Engine says he could still try to get away and fight a little bit with rook g8. As a human, this is a ridiculous position to ever look at and play from either side, in fact. But rook to g8 is the first move, but is still losing by plus 27. But everything else, of course, is worse. So after knight to h4, he just says, I'm going for it. Now I got my queen back. If I'm not getting mated, I'm good. Well, obvious move. Queen takes g6 check, forcing king e7. Gotta check him again, or else you're just lost. Queen g7, king d6, and for the finale, chat, clap it up. Clap your hands here. Go ahead as you find that move. I know you're going to find it. Look at the board. White to move here. Pat yourself on the back. Just like that. Here it is. Queen d7, mate. Sheesh. And the game is over. What a spectacular attack in the King's Indian attack from Sergey Karjakin. That was nasty, guys. That was beautiful. A beautiful attacking display from Sergey Karjakin against Sam Shankland. I hope you guys enjoyed this game today and learned something. And make sure you guys subscribe here at the channel on Chess.com. I'm National Master James Cantor III here with Chess.com, and I'll see you guys on the next video.